Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another movie review. And yes, you can see it is not Christmas time yet, but for some reason, Red One is out and available. We had opportunity to check it out in different respective areas where we live. This is starring Chris Evans and, of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the amazing J.K. Simmons as Big Red himself, Chris Kringle, Santa Claus. So, we're going to kind of give you guys a non-spoiler discussion about this film, what we thought about it. We have not collectively talked about it at all. But these are our co-hosts here. What's going on, Busy? What's going on, Mike? What's going on, Jorge? How you doing, guys?
What is going on, everybody?
Joy to the world.
Yeah, it's I don't know if he was the I mean, before we even kind of talk about the film, it just felt weird that this is November and we're looking at this Christmas movie. And I'm just like, why couldn't we have waited till like December the 1st to kind of get us into the
You know
spirit?
why?
I
You
ain't
know
complaining,
why?
bro.
But
You know
I
why?
I do think that I actually enjoyed this, and I didn't think I would. I kind of was like, we're gonna get some really random things with The Rock and Chris Evans. I thought that they could have decent chemistry, but I didn't expect to actually enjoy it. But I also think that the thing that made it work was there were some dialogue choices that they made that didn't come off as cheesy as I thought it would. But we'll unpack all that. But what did you guys think? Well, let me rephrase it. Going into it, were you excited, or you thought the same like I did, or and then after having seen it, what did you feel about it? I'll go with Jorge first. Go
All
ahead,
right.
Jorge.
So I am not gonna lie. I thought this was gonna be like the Tooth Fairy, just like the Christmas version. That was my initial thoughts going into this. So it definitely was not that. But no, I think the way that they marketed this, and I feel the same way you did, Sam. Like it is not. It's weird that we're watching a Christmas movie this early. I feel it's almost like we haven't fully gone through like Thanksgiving or none of that, but I don't know. I felt this was just done a little too early, but overall, I mean, it was an entertaining movie. I realized how old I was in this movie when I got to see it in 4DX. Never seen a movie in 4DX, and I legit felt like I was fighting with someone half the movie because my back is all tore up right now. So, other than that, no, I thought this movie was enjoyable, but we can definitely break it down a little bit more after these two guys tell us what they thought about the movie.
Yeah, Mike or Busy?
I was expect. Oh shit! All right, I was expecting a typical, Christmas movie. I wasn't expecting a typical Christmas movie going into this, and I guess I was right with that. I've been a big fan of some of the creative choices when it comes to like Hollywood making these types of movies, such as Violent Night. For some reason, I loved the hell out of that movie. Like I really did. So going into this one, I knew it wasn't going to be the typical, ho ho ho, whatever. And I like that. I did. And I expected some weird moments, and I did get that. I got a lot of weird moments, but I think there's a lot more to dissect when it comes to those specific moments that I'm talking about. So I am really excited to dive into it, but for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Mike?
I'm now starting to feel my age. I just turned 26 about a couple of weeks ago. I was getting uppercut in the back too, on 40X. Watching this for the first time, I was more excited about me watching it in 40X than I was about the actual film. But that being said, I left out a happy camper. I would say that it was better than I thought it was going to be, but also it wasn't again nothing that was gonna knock you out the park like a wild robot, like a something film that I was not expecting, and a Transformers one, whatever. Like trailers weren't really giving. Like I saw where the money was going to, but aside from that, I was like, you see these actors that Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson, J.K. Simmons, love all three of them, and I think the biggest thing aside from any of the visual effects and stuff, you love them being on screen, you love their charisma that they have, and I think those were the most enjoyable moments. most enjoyable moments of the film. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Is it the best? No, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do got to talk about the 40X for a second. I ain't gonna lie, man. These jokers right here, they were lighting my back up. My legs was getting shot. I was getting sprayed in the face. I was like,
water. Like
I feel left out, bro.
Like after they got dissipated in it, and all of a sudden, the water splashes onto you and everything. It's like, and then they knock you in that grill and everything. It's like your back hurts and like ow.
Yeah, like so basically, if you guys don't know what 40X is, like say if like Chris Evans is like trying to dodge and the whole chair is moving, but if he gets kicked, you get thrown back, or you might get hit in the back and you can actually feel it. Like
so if he sneezes, will you feel mist on your face?
You might feel like the force of him like sneezing, even if you bump into somebody. Like I remember Sam was like the earlier scene, like he bumps into somebody, whatever, and he's like, "Wait, what was that?" Like, no, that was the chair. It wasn't me.
So,
it wasn't me.
What you guys are saying is you wouldn't watch Cobra Kai and 40X.
Oh no.
No. I ain't gonna lie. Like what Jorge was saying, like my back is actually hurting. My neck was already jacked up.
I was like, can you imagine watching Creed or something like that?
You're gonna be knocking out with them, bro.
But I just wanted to bring up the fact that 40X, it does add to the entertainment value of it. Like I think if you want to take your kids and take for a journey, I think this would be a really good one. I wish I would have seen Dune in this. This would have been amazing, Dune, to see 40X. But as far as this film, let's kind of break it down a little bit. I honestly did not expect much from it. I just had very low expectations, to be quite honest with you. And I just thought it was just going to be so cheesy. I thought it was going to be really bad. But I want to talk about the dialogue, because the weird thing is you got all these fantastical things. You got these mythological creatures. I'm not going to divulge who some of them are, because some of them are very secretive. Even down to the villain, they kept that really secretive. But there are a lot of mythological references that you would know if you remember from your past, or if you heard anything about like different Christmas stories. So it adds to that. But there are lines that the characters make, whether it's a dialogue between Chris Evans and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, just in a small moment, that's not a mythological moment, or if it's like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talking to J.K. Simmons early in the movie, certain line deliveries and the way that it was scripted, I was like, this is somebody that actually knows how to write, like, because these are actually really fulfilling lines, because it's not just about the characters, it's more so about you actually getting something from it. And I did not anticipate that in this film, because that's what you want in a Christmas movie. Like, I mean, E.L.F. is dumb, right? But there's certain moments that you feel something from E.L.F. And I just didn't anticipate that. And I was curious you guys' perspective on some of the line delivery. Because, I mean, again, this is still it's cheesy, but there are moments, I think, that were written really well that surprised me. Did you guys have any feelings like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think more than anything, I think with Chris Evans's character, his character I felt was very unique in this film, because you kind of see him and it's kind of, you see his whole transformation, and it's actually really touching some of the, kind of like some of the dialogue that he has throughout the film. Not just, he has many times where he can make a very easy choice that would fall in line with his character, but you kind of see him grow and develop. And I thought, oddly enough, the chemistry between him and The Rock was extremely good. Especially with like the one-liners, which I kind of wonder if some of those were
improvised.
Or improvised. Like, there's one that, without spoiling anything, where, The Rock just kind of like walks by Chris Evans and goes, like, it doesn't work like that, with something that he was, looking at. And it's, just little things like that I thought made this movie, as weird as it sounds, believable, in that weird way. But no, I do agree with you. I think the dialogue in this was like, it had no right being somewhat as good as it was, in a weird way.
Yeah, and I can second that. Like, I don't want to dive too far into the it was believable, so it was good. But realistically, there were a lot of moments that really just made me grab onto it a little better than a normal Christmas movie would, because it's like, as a kid, you're always trying to imagine, like, Okay, so how does he do this? How does he do this? You know, like just crazy shit like that. But to see their use of like a lot of modern technology, such as just seeing like the jets flying and like just knowing that the people up above are, you know, well aware of what's going on, just the little things like that, where it made it really entertaining. But to dive into the whole dialogue conversation, like we did have some really memorable moments dialogue wise, but then there were times where just it felt very like they would take like a hard right and deliver a really really campy or cringy line. And realistically, I didn't mind it because it had that Christmas vibe to it. Like
Mhm.
we have moments where The Rock is using technology where it's just like you're looking at it and you're like, this isn't real. Like this is just weird, you know. But then it's like you remember that we're talking about an old dude that, you know, delivers presents at night on, you know, like deer. You know, it's like, you know, all of this is supposed to be crazy. It's supposed to be weird. It's supposed to be magical, if you will. So it was just really interesting to see their use of whether it was magic or the little gizmos, devices, whatever. It just I feel like a lot of kids are gonna have like a really, really good time with imagining or just seeing everything here. I think it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Mike.
Yeah, I felt going back to the believable factor of just because I grew up on the Tim Allen Santa Claus films, right?
Mhm.
Those are my like textbook, right? You know, in my generation, me and Busy's generation, you know, and like so when they're doing certain things, it's like I remember I was getting vibes of Tim Allen, you know, Santa Claus, you know, North Pole technology, the but in the same way because of the visual effects they were taking new creative elements uh with the mythology of it all and making it in a unique way that I haven't seen before. Um, and that I thought was actually interesting. But seeing also again J.K. Simmons as Santa Claus, I felt that was a strength. I wish we would gotten more of him in this film, but obviously because of the plot, it plays out the way it does. But I felt like that was a good casting, and I think I want to see more of a J.K. Simmons uh, Santa Claus. Like that's to me where I was like, okay, if I want to see a potential sequel or anything featured, I want to see more of him as that character. But between Chris Evans and Dwayne Johnson, like again, I felt like these actors, like they've been in many films before that we enjoy. Again, their chemistry, like they can go off script real quick and still, you know, deliver a good performance and stuff. That's and get the job done. But I think again to Busy's point, like there was certain dialogue where again they're just being campy for the sake of being campy. Because again, like if I'm a kid, I might love this film. You know, like oh yeah, that was fun, hilarious. But some things are predictable. Some things are as an adult you might get, but also be like, it's kind of just you smile, but you're not laughing, if that makes sense. Like, like, oh, but not really as a, oh, that was a punchline, like, ha 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 ha,
Yeah.
like that's like a running joke in the film or stuff like that, like dad jokes and stuff. But and so with this, I felt again, if I was a 10-year-old, I might have enjoyed this film again. And now, if I was in the 40X chair, I might still enjoyed it too. Only just for the ride, literally that it takes you on. But yeah, I felt in terms of action wise, I felt again it was pacing where there's some scenes there, but that was giving more adrenaline going and everything like that. But yeah, and I don't even want to spoil about technology, but it's like okay, I want to say Ant-Man meets Christmas, meets Central Intelligence, I guess. Like in a way, or like of the buddy cop, like of the Rock being the strong man character and Chris Evans being the scoundrel type of character. But again, it still has a good message too. I felt in this film about talking about, hey, there's joy, there's less joy in the world. That I felt was also the most interesting thing. Hey, as a we're adults, we understand the whole belief of naughty lists and nice and but we can also agree that hey, this world is a lot darker today than it has been probably years ago. People are a lot more meaner, a lot more disrespectful, a lot lack of love or care for each other, and that was a theme that was translated through Dwayne Johnson's character, and I felt that was strong as a point of his journey throughout this film, and actually seeing the joy and hope in people that he has lost over the years of this in this profession.
Yeah, I mean, even down to kind of their breakdown of how you gauge a person being naughty or nice, how you gauge like humanity. There's certain small little themes that they add into this that I think that through the campiness, through the fantastical elements, there's a human story there. And I think that some of these kind of questions, like that's why the older films that we used to see, you can have that comfortability of feeling that. But you don't get films like that anymore because it's just too cheesy. It's too campy. And they, to you guys' point, I don't want to spoil either, but the use of fantastical stuff and technology, especially in the third act, is so entertaining and insane how they handle that. But the other thing is it gets really at times some of the fantastical stuff gets a little dark and a little tonally different. Like I was really surprised. I was like, is this a Christmas movie? Like where are we going? I mean, you guys can kind of see for yourself when you look at these I'm gonna show these snowmen one more time. These ain't literally happy snowmen, you know, and some of the stuff that actually goes down, like not everybody's gonna make it out of here alive with these snowmen. But I do think that because it's not just all peaches and rainbows, it adds certain layers to this to make it a little bit more interesting and engaging. But as far as like nitpicks are concerned, I mean, it absolutely is very predictable, color by the numbers. Certain elements with Chris Evans's son in the very beginning, I was kind of like, I know where this is going to kind of go.
Yeah.
But what I think saves it is, I mean, not just their chemistry, but the choices that they have with the dialogue moments that they have. A lot of times you just be like campy, 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 random kid in here, put him in danger, and then that's it. Like they actually allow the characters to develop through their conversations, even through small, silly moments. There's certain lines of dialogue that you're seeing characters progress. Dwayne Rock Johnson's character, I think Dwayne Rock Johnson actually did a really good job in this. He may actually be the better character out of everyone here because he doesn't kind of play like Dwayne Rock Johnson. Like he really plays like somebody that's trying to figure out his life. It's weird to say in this kind of world, but he's trying to figure out his place based on the world around him. And so, even though all those things were really cheesy and stuff like that, I still think it's a very entertaining thing. The biggest negative I have about this is I think this came out in the wrong month. If this had came out even December 5th or December 10th, dude, like people wouldn't even care about how good this is. They would just want to see it. They want to see something one that they can be entertained by. It's got 40X, it's got The Rock, it's got Captain America, it's got freaking, J. Jonah Jameson in it. Like you're gonna get like the entertainment value there, but then it's got a good Christmas theme and a humanity theme to it. It's just I think it would have done better in December than it would have now. I think that with streaming, people are going to absolutely watch it, but because it's not going to be in theaters, like I don't know, it feels like a missed opportunity. There's something about going to the theaters around Christmas time that everybody flocks to the theaters around Christmas holiday times, and I think that that's just a missed opportunity, in my opinion. But that's my nitpicks about the film. You guys can kind of break down anything you guys want to.
I think one of the only nitpicks I really had was with the villain. Like in the third act, she was terrifying. But for some reason, like, and I don't know how to say this, but it's throughout the movie, I just found her not as intimidating as I would have liked, and it just seemed unbelievable as just as a villain, if that makes any sense. I really don't know how to say it any other than that. But
I know what you want to say, but you can't say it because it'll be a spoiler. Because
in a sense,
it's a disposition thing, but I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah, and as soon as we get an explanation which kind of explains her a little more, but then we see that explanation in the third act, and again, it kind of redeemed everything, and it made her a lot cooler of a character. Just whether it's me like explosions or however you want to explain it, I just really enjoyed a specific aspect of it later on.
Yeah.
But throughout the first part of the movie, it felt really weird. And then we got like a little outfit change, which just felt really like kind of like Power Ranger cartoonish at sometimes. But again, that's kind of the whole magic of Christmas. It's supposed to be really campy. It's supposed to have that vibe, and I think that's why I did enjoy it. Growing up in an area where it's only Halloween. I think Christmas is one of my favorite times, so I might be a little biased, but it was just really cool to see. Just a genuine Christmas movie. And there was times where I kind of forgot that it was a Christmas movie, Like there were certain parts when there were certain parts when we're going to a specific place, and on our way there, it's just like, okay, we're back in a cemetery. This is giving me Halloween vibes again. But then we dive into who we're meeting there, and it's just like, wow, like they're diving into like deep Christmas lore. Like, who would have thought we're getting? I don't even know if I don't know if it's a spoiler, but like, who thought we would have got this character in a Christmas movie? Because I feel like we don't see that character enough. Jeez, it's so hard not to say what I want to say.
Right.
What
Well,
the hell?
no, you're right. No, you're
Don't
right.
say anything at all. Yeah.
But like that character is also is like recently been introduced, like several years ago. I mean, in terms in the general public, like cinematically, right? With that, but to that point, I felt there was a missed opportunity, and I feel like if they actually want to build off of like sequels and stuff of like there is a seed that's planted, or at least or explained here that there's a much grander mystical element with different holidays, different characters and entities, which I felt that was kind of more like, wait, there's a organization that that's tied to this and stuff that of other mythological creatures, not just Santa. And I'm like, okay, where the heck is that? And I'm like, and what it reminds me of is another Christmas or holiday film that I really enjoyed was called I think it was Rise of the Guardians. I believe it was called Rise of the Guardians or the Guardians, where they
The
had
Guardians, yeah.
the Guardians with Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, Sandman, and
Yeah.
the Easter Bunny. I actually like that film. I understand it. Like some people might not like it, but I enjoyed it. But I was like, they had a whole corporation of people with different holidays. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So like,
I really like the whole aspect of like the government having a secret organization.
right? Exactly.
Kind of reminded. There were some vibes. I don't know if you guys know Prep and Landing. It's like
Yes.
it's like with the elves that have their like they're preparing Santa and everything. It just really had that little spy vibe to it, and I was thinking of that a majority of the film. But there are a lot of aspects that again make it a little more realistic, as weird as that sounds in a movie about Santa Claus. But it made me as a viewer just a little more entertained because it added a little kick that I feel like we don't see a lot of in a lot of other Christmas movies.
Yeah, I would actually also, and it's interesting some of the points you guys make, because I'm looking at this because I saw this with my kids, so I also got like the kid review and download on the way home. It's interesting some of the things you guys have mentioned, because Mike, you brought up something that this could open up a whole new world, which I felt was a missed opportunity in the way that they used like Lucy Liu in this movie. Because I think they could have used her a lot more in opening up kind of that, organization per se. And then the other thing that it literally just popped in my head, and it's wild. So you mentioned buddy cop type of thing. And it's wild when you start thinking about how many movies with The Rock you see like this buddy cop, like buddy cop type of situation, which now kind of makes me wonder: is The Rock really that much better of an actor than us? Like than we're giving him credit for, because he's obviously just about every movie he makes, like it's a $1 billion movie left and right, no issues. But you start kind of thinking, and he does tons of these like 1-2 punch type movies with the Hobbs and Shaw,
Jumanji.
yeah, like, and you start kind of looking through it and you're like, wait a minute, like this is it's interesting. But from a kid's point of view, I will say this. I don't know if this was rated, if they rated this movie properly to be very successful as a kids movie. Because this was a very colorful languaged PG-13 movie, which threw me off because I was not, like I said, I came in here thinking Tooth Fairy, shame on me. But you look at it and it's weird because where do you place? It's almost like it's a misplaced movie, because do you place this with like E.L.F? Do you place this with like
Violent Night?
yeah, yeah, it's like where does it fit in? It's almost like a lost area that they're in. Overall, though, I will say both my kids, which, one is 10, one is 12 years old, they loved it. They really enjoyed it. They thought it was hilarious. Given when I think it was in the end of the second arc when they started going, like to other places. As soon as they mentioned some of the stuff, like me and my wife quickly did like the whisper to like my son and daughter of like, yo, don't freak out. This may happen. Like, stay with us, But it does make me wonder if this was who was their target audience for this movie. Because it definitely, I don't think it was kids. But at the same time, I don't think it's not going for like the R-rated movie. So it's like, who are they going after?
13-year-olds, 12-year-olds.
And I think that's always a really interesting border to cross because we didn't like I said with Violent Night, it was crossing that fine line because you can't really take your kid to see that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time as it being extremely bloody, the language being off the charts, it clearly had that Christmas vibe to it. It was like a mix of Home Alone and John Wick. There was clear Christmas vibes in it where as a Christmas fan, you can enjoy the hell out of it, and be still, enjoy it as an adult. And I think this is where it kind of gets interesting because as an adult, as much as you would love to see your kids enjoy the movie, of course you're going to want to enjoy it yourself. So I feel like this is kind of like the perfect line where they're not really crossing any borders other than, a few words that they probably shouldn't have said, but it's really interesting. And I think that there should be a little more, a bunch of more movies in this little gray area between R and PG that kind of fit everyone's standards. Cause I'm going to be so real. I didn't know if kids should be seeing this. Like it depends on age, obviously. There was like a 5-year-old sitting behind me a couple rows back. And she was I only heard her laugh anytime, like, say Chris Evans said, "Oh, what an asshole," and I hear, ah, and I'm like, "Oh, that's cute. Whatever. Let her have a good time, man. Whatever." But it's like it was catching me off guard, and then it's like they're so close to dropping another word, and then I'm like just making sure nothing's said, but it's cool.
Like there was a few scenes that had like a little bit of like I don't know what terms say, just more of a sexual context to it. Like you see Chris Evans looking at a few women and way and or also one particular character how he's acting and in a scene with other creatures and stuff and stuff like that. What it's giving like and the actual jokes blatantly saying that. So I was like, yeah, this is not really. Yeah, I would bring like an 8-year-old to watch this. It's like, but it's action, so
yeah, it may be the reason why they didn't release it in December because they want this to be something to stream. If you're watching this at home, it's not gonna really matter. You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna be watching it with your family anyway, and they shoot, Netflix might have anything, So I think that's probably why, because they knew that with streaming, you can kind of go and that thin red line is always there. And it makes more sense why they didn't release this in theaters in December. But I don't know. It's a catch-22. Could they have removed certain things and just made it be what it is? But I think if you did that, it wouldn't be as unique as it is. I think that there's a small little thing to this that makes it more entertaining because it's got those things in there.
Yeah.
It's not exclusively a kids movie. But I do think it's a very entertaining one. Not the best, but I think it's a good, entertaining Christmas movie. Let's go ahead and final thoughts and ratings for this. A to F. Final thoughts. Busy.
I enjoyed it, for what it was. Realistically, I didn't expect a masterpiece, but I got a solid Christmas movie, so I'm gonna give it a B plus. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, nice. Jorge.
Oof. I was entertained. The seat beat me up too much. No, I think, and in using the A through F scale, because I usually use a number scale, I would probably just give this a C. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to watch this, but if it was on the background, I don't know if I would change it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nah, respect. Mike, final thoughts and rating?
I'll give this a high C plus or a B minus. Because I thought if you know what this film was trying to be, again, not taking itself too seriously, but I think there was opportunities for it to expand in ways they could. But yeah, was I entertained? Yeah. But again, it's by the books, which is why I put it at probably a B- or C plus. I think this film's a train wreck. No, as you mentioned, the streaming. This is more of a streaming film, but if you go see it in theaters, go on 40X, have a ride. Go. You want to experience something, cool in November and stuff. Yeah, this would be a good film for you to go see with the family. But aside from that, yeah, I thought the chemistry really was the strongest point for me between Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans characters, and yeah, I would love to see them, come together in another film. Maybe that's not Christmas, but just with their chemistry. Same thing with anything J.K. Simmons touches gold. So yeah, he did a good job as Santa Claus. But yeah, I felt I wasn't entertained. But yeah, I'll give this a B- or so.
Yeah, quick question. The last movie that came out in theaters that Dwayne The Rock Johnson was that Black Adam? In theaters. Was that the last movie?
That can't be right.
What was the last movie he had in theaters?
No, there has to be something before that or after Black Adam.
He had some movies that were on streaming.
Shit, you might be onto something.
But I'm talking about in theaters.
Here, I'm pulling up his IMDb right now.
Before I give my rating, just want to fact check this for a second.
Oh no, Fast X.
Fast X, yeah. I was gonna say Fast
Well,
X.
just
Does that really count? Does that really count?
That doesn't count. That doesn't really count.
Yeah, that
Well, wait,
Super Peps.
I was gonna
No,
say
that was before Black Adam.
live action.
Was it?
That was before Black Adam, though.
It's the live action. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just because that's what my mind went to. But as far as the film is concerned, would I watch it again? Yes, I absolutely would watch it again. I would watch it with my wife. I'd watch it not with my kids.
Yeah.
But I think that the world and the possibility of I think that you wouldn't introduce a character like Lucy Liu and not continue down a certain rabbit hole. There's certain mythological elements in here that you can absolutely maneuver.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that they leave the door open enough, especially because Amazon made this, that I think that this isn't the last of this. And the fact that they called it Red One, I think that they could easily change it to something else and bring the same kind of elements to it. And I think it'd be even more entertaining. And the other part about it is like the last movie that Rock had, I would never watch again. But this, I would absolutely watch again. And I think that gauge, my even if you have an entertaining movie that's bad, right, you can go and watch it again. If you have a movie that is bad and not entertaining, you're not gonna do that. And I don't think this is a bad movie. I think this is a decent film. I think it's a pretty decent Christmas movie, and I think it's definitely a very entertaining one that I want to see maybe more of. I think that they can definitely explore some stuff with it. So B- for me. Yeah, B-. Yeah. So that concludes our review for Red One. Can't believe we talked about it for 33 minutes. So maybe it was some real good movie. But Jorge, where can everybody find your content?
You can find me here at TeamJVS. This is where I do the majority of my postings. I will probably start kicking back up my old channel and start doing some more deep dives or just some interesting content with foreign films and docs. So be on the lookout for that one once I relaunch that guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jorge. Mike, where can everybody find your content?
You can find me. You can find me here. You also can find me at YouTube at Jedi Mike 7 right here. Yeah, we got reviews coming up this week, and also I'll be interviews as well to be dropping soon and stuff. Just go subscribe to YouTube, TikTok been doing very, very well. Also on Instagram and Twitter. Yes. But yeah, at Jedi Mike 7.
Yeah, slight little plug for Mike. Definitely go and check out some of his breakdown videos he's had recently on his social media. Those have actually been really entertaining. So good job.
I got more coming in 2 a.m. of this recording. Yes.
Speaking of TikTok, Mr. TikTok himself just had
the king, the champ,
subscribers and had 3 back-to-back 2 million viewed videos.
I think one of them is about to hit 4 million, but all right. Yeah, you guys can find me Busy Brown everywhere. The TikTok, we've been posting a lot of exclusive reactions that we might not put on our YouTube. So check it out over there. You can see a lot of familiar faces from this channel over there. And yeah.
Yeah, see, I guess Dizzy up a little. He's blushing in there. All right, y'all. We're gonna go. Talk to y'all later. See you, everybody.
Peace.